every now and then you actually meet in person and you share your excitement about games. He's not just an institution, but he's a great guy. It's not easy to create this in a different place.
Exactly.
Felix, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me today. I know you must be very busy at this moment in time. How does it feel a few days away from Gamescom? What's the feeling in that moment?
It's excitement. I mean, the whole team and all the exhibitors, all the partners have put so much preparation and work into this. And now it's just, a little troubleshooting here and there, but everything is set and everything is in place. So it's exciting to see that everything comes together for the biggest gaming week of the year.
Definitely. I was wondering how much kind of time and effort and how many people does it take to bring an event of that scale together?
That's hard to tell because it's so many partners and so many people involved. I mean, as I said, it's the biggest gaming event worldwide, and there are so many different aspects to it. We also call it like a 360-degree festival because it has it represents of course everything from the industry, but also everything from the gaming culture, be it esports, cosplay, retro, arts, creators. There's a festival in town the whole weekend. There's a camping site with LAN parties. So, you name it. It's just huge, and it only works because we have so many great partners, and everybody is really excited and all into making Gamescom happen. Of course, the core team. We as an association, we are pretty small. We are 22 people in Berlin, being a classic association, but also deeply involved into Gamescom. But the core team of Köln Messe, and they are the professionals when it comes to all the operations, security, the halls and everything. This is a huge team making all this happen.
Yeah, you mentioned the location there, Köln Messe. I remember the first time I went was 2019, so the last one before COVID. I remember just being absolutely blown away by the size of the place. It's quite impressive when you first experience it, isn't it?
It's also impressive if it's your 10th experience, I guess. I've been at all Gamescoms, so I know from the very beginning, and it's still really impressive for me, even being so deeply involved and spending the whole week. That there are so many things I didn't notice or I didn't see or I didn't have the time to actually find out about. So you can be 3 complete days as a visitor. You can be 3 days at Gamescom and still you haven't seen a lot of things.
Yeah, that's always how I feel. Actually, at this point specifically, like just before we go, that's always how I feel. It's like, actually, I could have filled a few more days of even just like meetings rather than actually wandering about and like having that more impromptu experience. I always feel like I could have fitted in another couple of days worth easily. What do you think is kind of the importance of video game events, in-person events, kind of in the modern days these days when, a lot of discourse happens online, but what do you think is like the benefit of doing something in person?
I think it's a huge benefit because it's so emotional, and of course you can, the gaming world is digital, so you spend your time with your friends online, and there's no problem about that. But if every now and then you actually meet in person and you share your excitement about games and you share your friendship and spend time on your friendship in person, of course that's another level of involvement and of energy. And that's only the B2C side, so the community, but also on the business side, I think we all know the difference between a Zoom call and having coffee together. So I think that adds a lot to this. But saying this, it was crucial for us as Gamescom to make a real hybrid event out of Gamescom. So we even started before COVID with this, for example, introducing Gamescom Opening Night Live, where we have thousands of people on site, but we have millions of people worldwide tuning in. Of course, during COVID, when we did pure digital shows, or we had to do pure digital shows, we learned a lot, and we added on to this hybrid concept a lot of things. So this assures that even people who cannot attend Gamescom in person, on site in Cologne, in Germany, will still be able to participate completely in Gamescom, because there are so many things you can find and you can see. Just to name Gamescom Epics, which is a text adventure we have for our community, and these also quite clever combines with a new trading card concepts, combines on-site and digital world together. So I think, of course, it's the nicest experience is if you book your if you travel to Cologne and be inside of the heart of it, but there it will be exciting as well to tune in from anywhere you want.
And you mentioned the opening night live there, that's been going for a few years now. I can't remember exactly how many is it now. But what's that like working, with Geoff Keighley, who's obviously like an institution in himself? What's that like, and what's it like trying to find the right balance when that it kind of has to match what's actually at Gamescom, but people from all around the world will be tuning in just because they want to see what the gaming news is that day, kind of thing.
He's not just an institution, but he's a great guy. I really like him from the first meeting we had in LA when I don't know if I told somebody, but he dropped a mail saying, I love Gamescom. I just want to let you know. So there wasn't anything connected. It was just really nice mail. And then we said, okay, I should meet him and talk about this idea we had for years, and he would be the perfect fit. And then Gamescom Opening Night Live was the end of that. So he's a great guy, really responsive. Even when from our members or wherever in the world, little indie studios say, "Oh, we have this idea, we want to pitch this to Gamescom," he takes time for everyone and replies really promptly, checks the contents, says what he needs to make find a place in Gamescom Opening Night Live. So it's a great partnership, and we built up from the first year, which was I think 2019, built up in from there a lot. So we have millions of people and growing and dialing in tuning in into Gamescom Opening Night Live. So I think that's great. I mean, we have seen a lot of digital shows in the past years, especially since 2020 when COVID started. But I think Opening Night Live shows the different quality of Gamescom, because it's not only a huge digital showcase, one of the biggest in the gaming world, showing new announcements and everything, but also it's connected to Gamescom week. So everything which is within, or every partner being part of Gamescom Opening Night Live also needs to be partner of Gamescom, and this makes sure that you not only see a trailer and that's it, and you don't hear anything about that for the next half year, but you can actually talk to the developers next day. You can see a stream in our Gamescom studio about that in the following days. You have maybe an esports competition around that, or visit the booth and have a hands-on for what you've just seen in Gamescom Opening Night Live. So I think this connection is really important to make more out of it than just a one-off digital showcase, which we can see and it's exciting, but it's it's an hour and then it's gone and that's it. It's not with Gamescom, it's a whole week of excitement.
Definitely. And it just reminded me, it must have been that 2019 one, I think, when I remember watching the Opening Night Live and Lies of P was in it. Do you remember that game?
Yes.
Was that year, or was that a later year?
I don't remember.
Yeah. But it was in the show, and I remember that being the one that really stood out to me. Looked like a really cool game. I remember seeing lots of buzz about it online, and because I was there in person, I was like, "Oh, where is this game?" Oh, I think there was like one little area in the Xbox area where you could go and play it, and I was, I'm going to head over there. So you're right, it does have that like tangible excitement of like, okay, I'm going to find where that game is. And I think it was one of the biggest queues I saw of the week, was people trying to get into there. But like like I say, it's a really nice experience to be able to, not see a trailer and then maybe wait 6 months or a year for another trailer, to actually then go, right, I can go play this today. I can go talk to the people that know about this today. I was wondering, what have you got this year in terms of opening night live? Obviously, I'm not expecting you to tell me what's in it, but I saw there were quotes from Geoff going around that people should expect some new game reveals this time out.
Yeah, I think it will be a great ONL this year. Last year, as you might have remembered, or might remember, Geoff before the show did some expectation management, saying, okay, they're not, the companies at the moment don't really have that many new world premieres, not known as, but we really had a really great show with contents of already announced games which were not shown before, so that was really interesting. And this year it's a combination, so it will be already announced stuff, like Geoff has already told people, and we have on our channels, Gamescom channels, already named some contents which people can look forward to, but also there will be some exciting news. So I think it will be a great start into this week. I don't want to talk too much about the games, because that would be hard. It's so much there. I want people to find out themselves about the games itself. I just recommend not to only look at the big booths. Of course, that's a must-have, but also to visit, for example, the indie area we have, and it's growing every year since the last years, because it gives the opportunity to people to find every stand and every booth it's a different game, and most of the time the developer is just next to it, so you can talk to the developer, find out about games you would never found without your visit at Gamescom. So that's exciting. But what I can tell is concerning the games culture and the areas, we did a lot this year as well. For example, we introduced a cards and boards area where trading cards and everything which is strongly connected to the games culture is presented in a big way with new partnerships. So that will be exciting. We have a artist area where game artists not only sell the work, but they paint people in art styles. So that will be fun, I think. It's many artists joined when we asked people, or we told people that we want to create this new area. So looking forward to that one. And maybe a third one is our social stage. So as you probably know, creators are more and more important for the games culture and the games universe. And we created this curated stage for them where apart from the signing area we have had for years already, there's also a stage for shows. For example, a speedrun competition creators do, and earning money for social projects, or we have game music on there, or little shows from creators. So I think that will be also fun and something new we are introducing this year.
It was really nice to hear like that you guys are not just repeating what worked in previous years, but trying to add in other layers and other elements on top of it as well. It's really cool.
Never. I mean, to stand still would kill an event, because the games universe and the games industry is so dynamic, agile, fast moving, that we, as hopefully the best stage for them in the world, have to move quick and be agile and dynamic as well. So no Gamescom is like the other. We always change things. We always want to be on top of things to be able to be the best stage for everything.
Definitely. And do you feel any extra, like you said, because Gamescom is now the biggest event of this kind globally, does that add extra responsibility or extra pressures or anything to you, or have you just kind of carried on applying the same process of trying to grow it every year?
It adds well, we feel responsible, and there's of course a aspect of responsibility. It's not that much pressure, because first of all, Gamescom is really in a good shape and has been constantly growing and is set up in a really nice way. So I don't feel this as pressure, but more as joy to be able to do this. Because second, it's again about partnership. So we work together really close with our members, with the companies of the games industry, creating or deciding on where should Gamescom go next, where should it be developed to. So these are decisions we make together. So the success also is something we share with them and everybody who's taking part. And but as you can see, for example, in areas like sustainability, like accessibility, like diversity, where we are very active in with different projects and initiatives, that this is something which is important to us as games industry, and that's why it's also important to Gamescom to be front runner and to have pilot initiatives like Gamescom Goes Green and stuff like that. So this also is a part of this responsibility we do have and we do see, and we are really happy to be able to have something like Gamescom even even spreading out to Gamescom Asia in Singapore, Gamescom Latam in Sao Paulo, to be able to have this is a great gift, and we are really cautious or really careful to do the best with it.
Nicely, I'm glad you mentioned the other international versions of it as well. I was meaning to ask about those. So was it the first? Was it the first Latin American one? Was quite recently. That was only a few
in
weeks
June,
ago,
yeah.
right? How did that go? Any kind of first reactions or learnings or anything?
Yeah, that was great. I was in Sao Paulo in June when the first Gamescom Latam started, and it was a really great event. I mean, we partnered with another event that was previously called Big Festival, so that was already a really good event, also with Omelette Group. So it's a really nice partnership that came together. But what was really great to hear from people were two things this year. First thing was, this is a huge step compared to last year, so it's the right direction and it's a great development. And the second was, this feels like Gamescom, because Gamescom being such a huge festival with all aspects, this 360-degree festival, it's not easy to create this in a different place. So that was a great feedback, to even when it was smaller. I mean, 100,000 people, that's not small, but still smaller as compared to Gamescom. But it contained all those different aspects and reflected or has shown the games universe in all the variety. How do you say it? Variety. Thank you. So I think that was a great success.
Awesome. Then the Asia one is still coming up, right?
Yeah, Asia is happening in October, so they're preparing right now. So if somebody can't come to Cologne, we come to them with Gamescom with these two editions or satellites.
Just to kind of hark back to something you were saying earlier, I really like that piece of advice to kind of go check out the other halls, check out the indie area and stuff like that. I had an experience, I don't remember which year it was, but I was doing just that. I had a bit of time between things, so I just kind of went for a little explore and walked past I think it was a VR area in the indie area, and I just saw, like, on the side of one of the stands a game called What the Bat, and I was like, oh, I remember the same company made one called What the Golf, but I didn't realize they'd made a new one, let alone a VR one, until I saw the actual poster in front of me in real life. And I think there's something to be said about that, right? Of like that kind of discoverability and kind of walking around, not kind of spending all your day kind of focusing on, I've got to go play this one AAA thing, but kind of taking the time to kind of loop around and explore and see what else catches your eye. Because I bet there must be a lot of, what's the word? Like positive stories of games that have gone to Gamescom, and then off the back of it, so many more people are now aware that they exist and what they're doing. I don't know, it must be kind of hard to kind of measure those kind of things, but I'm sure there must be lots of companies that have nice results like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are always these stories, and we get a lot of feedback by our members and also by surveys that it helps, no matter how big you are as a company. If you're indie, just 2 people developing a game, letting people play it and get feedback immediately, or being one of the really big companies and still it's great to interact with your community and give them a chance, apart from the classic digital ways of the rest of the year to interact and to to have the pure community feeling, when you also reach communities you wouldn't reach if you do a fan fest just for yourself. So it also, it's all about these interaction, and I think that's a crucial success factor about Gamescom, that Gamescom was always about community. So it was focusing on a community, and this makes it even in more and more digital times, makes it so important to have this gathering and this festival where people wait a month until it starts again.
If you don't mind, I'd quite like to kind of finish on, it might be a slightly silly question, but something my wife always asks me, and I thought, I've got the organizer of Gamescom now, so I can ask him face to face, is why is it called Gamescom with the letter M on the end and not Gamescon with for convention or conference? And I was like, I don't know if it's maybe there's a German word or something like that. Why is it called what it's called?
I actually don't know, because that is before I joined. There might be, it's no silly question, but there might be a silly answer like legal things or whatever. I don't know. But this makes it unique, as Gamescom is Gamescom.
Definitely. Well, I very much look forward to Gamescom this year, and seeing what's in the show. I've got so many meetings booked. I think it's going to be a wonderful week. And well, thank you very much for organising it and for taking the time to chat to me about it today. It's always a great event, and I look forward to it.
Thanks for traveling to Gamescom and celebrate Gamescom and the week